Hi, everybody. Welcome to the WIP Developer Smackdown today. We're going to be talking about how to win a hackathon. Joining us to share their experience and expertise, we've got Tom Ortega from Omega Ortega. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
And we've also got Peter Ma, a hackathon veteran. Hi, Peter. Tom, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Tom Ortega. I've been programming professionally now for about 20 years. We started doing hackathons, I'd say about 2 years ago. Of the 6 we've entered, we've won 3 of them. One was Sears, we won the grand prize. One was for Novartis, we took 2nd place. And then one was for First National Bank of Omaha, which we took 3rd place. So 3 different prizes in 3 different categories. It's the same core team. There's about 4 of us that do it. We work together and have fun.
Okay, great. Peter. Uh-oh, having some technical difficulties here with Peter.
Hello?
There you are. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your experience, that would be great.
All right. My name's Peter. I've been doing programming since I was in high school. That's probably around almost 20 years now. No, 15 years or so. So I've been starting doing hackathons just for, as a hobby. I still do it as a hobby once in a while. I won't too many to really count. The AT&T Developer Summit. Which ironic part is I previously won the Sprint Developer Conference as well, the hackathon. I 1st place. So I do have a lot of experience in how to win hackathon. And I think that it's not too hard for anybody to come in and learn and produce better apps of the hackathon.
Great. So both of you guys have a lot of experience participating in hacks. You've been pretty successful. So hopefully today we can explore a little bit some of those secrets of your success without having you give away too many of your secrets to some of your future competitors. So Peter, I'll throw the first question to you. What do you do to prepare for hackathons, if anything? Do you study up on the APIs and the technical partners that are going to be taking place? What do you look at, and how do you prepare yourself ahead of time?
To be really honest, I actually don't. I used to prepare for it, and then eventually I found out that whenever you prepare, you actually never win anything. So it's mostly improvisational. You go to the conference and then you ask what API sponsors are giving out and what are they what are you supposed to use, because the research you're doing on the specific company. Microsoft, for example, if you're trying to use their different platforms, does not actually apply to their actual it does not actually apply to their actual their prizes. For example, you can do stuff on Azure, you can do stuff on the Windows Phone. That in the end, the OneNote is the one that's actually sponsoring. So all the work that the preparations kind of just go down the drain. Versus, yeah. So that's from my experience. I basically just do it on the spot. You go there and then you talk to other people.
Okay.
Another big problem is teammates. You don't really. Sometimes I don't have. When I go to the conference or the hackathon, I see other people end up teaming up with before. I'll actually join them in a team. Otherwise, you kind of have to figure out who you're gonna be with them on a team.
Okay, I want to come back to that point about teammates. So we'll come back to that in a second. But Tom, I would put the same question to you. Is there anything that you do ahead of time before the hackathon, or like Peter, do you just kind of show up and start planning there?
Yeah, our actual modus operandi is to show up with literally just a blank notebook and some pens, and we get there because the way that we approach the hackathon is it's not we don't see it as from a programming perspective. We come there to hear what their problems are, and then we attack the problem. So for us, even though we deliver technical solutions, it's not about technology. It's more about understanding their problems and trying to solve it.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. You know, one thing that I've seen through, you know, hosting and judging and organizing a number of different hackathons is the number of times that projects don't actually address the sort of issues being raised at the hackathon, whether that's, you know, trying to solve a specific problem or you know, using a technology in a way that the challenges are presented. So I think that's a great point. Peter, you mentioned finding teammates. I think that's something that a lot of people are worried about at hackathons. You know, if they can't show up with 3 or 4 people they know already, or 3 or 4 coworkers or friends, how they can really join a team. You know, so what are some of your suggestions there, both for how to form a team and join a team, and then to make sure that you know, you're getting people with the right skill sets?
I joined team like I used to be just like soloing, but then again that's just not really fun anymore. Because like it's more. I think leadership skill is more important than actually winning a hackathon. At least at this point of the career, because these are the people you like. So like you select a team based on what they can do. I highly believe that people shouldn't be given orders on, okay, you're doing design, you're doing, you know, you should be coding this part, you should be coding that part. In a team where the teammates should be like, okay, what are you guys working on? And then we're like, okay, like a very general idea, like what are we working on? Maybe the idea is not even formed. If a good teammate will be like, okay, I can get this part done. And then that's, it's like unofficially they're already on the team by then. And if they're not really doing anything, then you kind of just on the official submission you just ignore them. There are people going around that just like trying to join every single team, and then they don't really do anything. The minimal they can do is actually presentations. You know, you don't actually need to be technical at all. You can, you know, do really good at, you know, writing jokes. Maybe write jokes for the pitch. What is the idea? I just don't even need to know. Like this one guy literally came up to us, like, I don't even need to know your entire technical like feasibility. I just need to know what you're pitching, and then I can write jokes and I can pitch. Like, you know, that's a pretty good way of, you know, joining a team. You do need this different dynamics. But also at the same time, all the coders, like by the second day, we're all always tired. It is nice to have like a set, so they can, you know, they can do their job. At AT&T, my sister did the pitch. She did not know any like programming at all, in a way, but she just did a really good job pitching because she had enough sleep that we did not.
Okay, great. We've got a question that's come up on Twitter, and Tom, I'll throw it to you. Would you go prepared with several IDEs and SDKs, or try and hope that you can use your preferred IDE, SDK, or language?
Well, in the hackathons that we've been involved in, that's one of the few things that they do talk about up front is the technology stack. We work in 2 technology stacks. We work in either HTML5 utilizing the montage framework, or we develop native mobile apps using iOS SDK and Xcode. And so if the hackathon rules don't allow one of those 2 things, then we don't join the hackathon.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our team has an area of expertise, and it's not that we can't do other technologies. It's just that we prefer these technologies and we're faster with them. So
Sure.
we don't mess with any other technology.
Okay, great. So moving on a little bit to some of the sort of I guess day of event or beginning of the hackathon. How do you start generating ideas for projects? Do you have any tips you can share with people to, you know, around idea generation, brainstorming, and then I guess the second part of that would be what makes for a good project. How do you then start evaluating some of those ideas? Peter, if you want to answer that one, because certainly in my experience, you've always been good at coming up with good projects for hacks.
Ideas actually like. So my best way is just ask the sponsors first of all, like you see which one have the best prizes, and then the funny thing is they usually have a way of like pre-existing idea that they want to build, and usually the idea is not perfect, and you basically discuss with them to generate whether the idea is feasible or not. In the end, you're in their competition, so.
And then a follow-up question for you. I know it seems like a lot of people try to create ideas that are really big.
Idea mostly are created.
Oh, sorry.
Through these filters.
Audio cut out a little bit there, and I was asking you a second question. I was gonna say, what makes a good hack project to you, and how do you keep your idea narrow enough so it's something that you can achieve but still be attractive to the judges?
Oh, well, like I usually go through 3 filters. First is like, does it have a chicken and egg problem? Do you need user to get more users? Most judges, I think these days, starting to realize that's a big problem. It's like I can easily pitch and say, oh yeah, this is being sold to all the small businesses. This is going to be great, but in reality, it's not a feasible project. So that's like the chicken and egg problem. Second is the discipline problem. It's like if I use this app every single day, I'll record something, then the data will be valuable. So those are automatically being filtered out. I no longer like you don't code. You simply with the idea involve those 2, then you simply don't do it. Third is that is the current solution better, like a 4 or even 10 times better than the current solution. I'm not sure how many note apps you guys have seen by now, but it's like Evernote contains all those features. There's no reason to create another note app in a hack. So that's, and out of those 3 things,
your audio's cut out again, Peter. I'll take this opportunity to switch over to you. How do you decide on hack projects and what works well there?
For us, it's to also answer the team question. It's always the same 4 individuals, and so there are 2 programmers, 1 sort of project manager guy, and 1 designer. And we usually hear the problem, and then we come up with a bunch of ideas, and we will start to design the app around the hack, around the problem, and usually before we get too far along, we'll realize it's not a very good idea. And the hackathons that we're involved in are typically like 48 hours or more, or like 2 or 3 days. And so what we wind up doing is we will find out about the problem, and then the first 6 hours we'll spend throwing out crazy ideas. And then what invariably ends up happening is after we don't like all those ideas, the team says, all right, these ideas suck, we need another idea. And that's when I go for a walk. I don't know how PC this is, or they tell me to go to the bathroom, because when I used to work at this one job, we used to get stuck on problems, and twice I went to the bathroom and I came back with the answer. So the running joke was, we had a problem, Tom, go to the bathroom. And so that's kind of what the team says to me, is like, hey, go to the bathroom and come up with a different idea, and usually we come back and that idea tends to work. So don't be afraid to throw out all your ideas for a few hours, and then discard them all. Go ahead and take a step back after a few hours and say, hey, we may have wasted 6 or 7 hours of our 48 hours But if it's a really stupid idea, why should we really continue it?
Yeah, yeah. In terms of moving on, just sort of from the general idea of a project, do you have any specifics in terms of sort of technical features versus look and feel or UI that that you try and balance? I mean, what's more important to you? What is it that you're looking to create when you think about a project?
Is it for me?
Yep, I'll stick with you.
Yeah, so what typically happens is we come up with the idea, and then I'll design the app flow. So I'll say, okay, this is what happens on this screen, the login screen. Sometimes we put stuff on the login screen. Sometimes it's the landing page after the login screen, and then the features. And so I'll roughly sketch out just an app flow, and then I hand it over to the designer, and he starts to design all the screens. And while he's doing that, me and the other programmer will start to analyze any APIs that the Hackathon provides. We'll start laying out the back end. We'll start creating the project in Git. We'll start setting up the project in Xcode, or set up our montage project, whatever it is that we're building on. And usually a good quarter of the time is spent with the designer. And he designs all the screens. And sometimes he understands the app flow really well and designs them to a T. And other times he doesn't quite get them right. But what we don't do as a team is we don't question each other. And so he designs the app screens, and then I say, okay, well, I didn't explain this part very well, so he didn't make it as it should be. But then when I implement the screen, then I just tweak it so that it does work with the application flow, and then he'll come back and be like, oh, okay, I see what you mean now that I see it in action. And then we build the screens. And then towards the later end of I don't know, maybe 12 hours before demo, we throw the working app back at the designer, and he'll go through it and look for weak points in the design elements, and then he'll redo certain screens or add certain elements to give it a little more life. And then we spend the last 12 hours cramming those in, and then that's it. We also come up with a demo script about midway through. We'll start to the project manager guy will start to come up with a demo script. He works it out with the various team members, and then I wind up usually presenting the demo. And so the last hour I spend kind of going over the script and making sure I hit all the points.
Yeah, we'll definitely come back to demos and pitches before we wrap up. That's a really important thing. Peter, in terms of looks and feel and design and UI and graphics versus technical features, what's the sort of balance you try and strike there? How important is one versus the other?
Well, I don't always have a designer I'm working with. Same thing. There's a couple of designers I really like, and if they show up at the hackathon, I'll definitely ask them to join my team. But are just designers, just go there for fun, just like me as well. Mm-hmm. What I usually focus on is you have 3 minutes, or usually less than 3 minutes, sometimes like just 1 to 2 minutes, 90 seconds. So that time you can only show one feature and one feature only. When you're dealing with one feature, you like UI, it doesn't really matter as much. It still helps. If there is a designer, I definitely work with them. But since you're dealing with only one feature, you simply just make sure that you get that feature right. And then this way the audience knows what you're doing. The judges know what you're doing, and that's basically my complete focus. And if the team end up, there's other stuff you can do, other features you can add, then we're discuss about whether to demo that at all, because if it's not needed for demo, then we don't really need to build it at the hackathon.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's great if you can build an application that's going to have all of these different features in the given amount of time. But if you don't have the time within your demo or your pitch to show people those those features, excuse me, there's not a lot of point in spending your time creating them rather than focusing on what's going to fit in your pitch. We've got a number of questions coming in that are around demos and pitches. So let's shift gears and talk about that demo and pitch for a few minutes, and then we'll get to these questions. Tom, you mentioned spending an hour on your demo towards the end of your working time. Tell us how you approach the pitch in general and what you're looking to do in that 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is that you have.
So I'll tell you two things you don't want to do, and which is a mistake we see most of our competitors do, and I'm probably going to gain some more good competition because I'm going to break this rule and tell you guys. But so many people, of the 1 to 2 to 5 minutes, will spend half their time with a dumb PowerPoint and talking about what they're going to show. Hi, my name is Tom, and I'm going to show you an application that shows you how to walk around the world and find interesting places to see and blah, blah, blah. And they're like talking about their app when they could be showing the app. Like when we go up, we say, hi, we're Omega Ortega, I'm Tom, that's Rance, that's Anthony, that's Chris, and then that's it. Like within 5 seconds, we're in the demo. There's no wasting time with other stuff. And because of that, because we have a script, we've mapped out, this is where I'm going to vary from Peter quite a lot, is we actually demo anywhere between 5 to 10 features. And that's because we step through the app. We don't talk, we show, right? We say, here's where you log in. We don't actually log in, but we have a login button. And then we say, this is how the admin would come in, enter the information, that then you go back to the login screen, come back as a user. This is how the user sees the information. Here's how the user interacts with the information. Here's how that interaction goes back to the admin, for instance, in some random app. And that's how we step through it. And so our applications are typically, I would say, anywhere between 5 and 10 screens. So we'll show anywhere between 3 to 7 types of functionality within the application. And our applications are full-blooded running applications. They're not like, it's not like demoware or vaporware. It's not. A lot of the features that we show are.
I think one point we need to emphasize is don't show vaporware or slideware. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. Although there was a person who won with just a slide deck one time. So I don't know. There are exceptions to the rule.
We won't go there. Peter, what are your tips for pitches and demos? Elaborating on what you said a minute ago.
Okay. Again, I follow the similar route Thomas did. Is like I don't like to show slide decks, and I don't like to show, I don't like to explain the problem, but that does help. I have seen that it does help a lot, and sometimes they can win with just the slide decks, which is really funny because it's supposed to be a hackathon. But those do win, so I can't say it don't do it. But that's general. My rule is that my rule of thumb is straight. Like basically, you have. I like to show live demos, and I like to tell the judges I'm actually showing a live demo. Just the understanding that vaporware sometimes, yeah, you can represent an idea really good because everything is fake. You don't have to deal with API issues because all the API hits is actually fake. It's like they're going to return the same response. You're basically faking the API response anyway. Yeah. But when you're actually showing them you're actually doing this and there is a delay and this is a hackathon, it does give you a little more advantage because now judges are being like, okay, this is a real prototype comparing to just a vaporware. But when you don't emphasize that, or when you don't have time to emphasize that, when you have too many features, sometimes you don't have time to emphasize, okay, this is the actual working app. This is not just a vaporware with the, building in vision. Judges actually, it really depends on the judges. Sometimes some of them don't care. Some of them just care about a good idea. Some of them do care, and that's where you get the upper hand.
Okay. We've got, as I said, we've got several questions.
One quick follow-up to that. An easy way to show that it's not vaporware, especially, is to show a working app on a mobile device. So if you come up with a desktop and then there's kind of that questionability of is it real or is it fake. But if you come up with a mobile device, chances are you're not faking it. That gives the impression to the judges right away that this is for real. This is a real application on a real device.
Okay. Yeah, but Thomas, here's the part. On the mobile, the same thing. You kind of can fake everything too. You can fake
correct.
Things.
You can, but I'm just saying that. Correct. That's one way to sort of get the judges. And if you want to help, that's a way to help the fakers fake a little better, I guess. But yeah, so that's what we do. We always demo on device. We never bring up a laptop or anything. It's just we plug the device in and go.
Great, and I think that's another thing, from my experience with demos too. The simpler you can make them, the more you can keep them on a single device, the less time you're spending plugging in 3 devices and switching to a laptop and switching to this and that, the better off you are. Because we see people that come up with, just 2 or 3 minutes to demo, and they end up spending a minute and a half changing connections and waiting for the screen to come up and all of these sorts of things. So let's turn to a number of the questions that we have here. Got a question. Do judges look down on you participating as an individual versus a team? I'm asking as a full stack and sales engineer. Peter, maybe you want to take that one since you've done both.
They as an individual, you can win. They definitely give more favors to the team for majority of the hacks that I've participated, especially a balanced team. And it's even better if you can actually show, okay, I actually don't know these guys 2 days ago, which sometimes actually happens. Not a lot, but like I've seen people, so that's why I've seen them before. So I'm like, hey, let's just join up. But they definitely give favors to a team. If that answers your question.
Okay. Tom, any thoughts on that, working as an individual versus a team?
I was about to say, I've been in some hackathons where they require a team. You're not allowed to be a single person. You have to be a team of 3 or 4. Okay. So yeah, and in that particular case, you weren't even allowed to come pick a team. You had to come as a team.
Okay. Next question. And Tom, I'll send this one to you. Do you pre-make a blank presentation or plan how you might present your finished app or project before the event?
Never, because we don't know how we're going to present. So first of all, we never make any presentations. Ours is we walk up, the device is plugged in. Before we start our demo, we give a verbal introduction of ourselves, put our names up on the screen, and then we go straight to demonstrating the app. What I do is I will create on my device, because all my devices are not just dev devices, they're also my personal devices. So what I will do is I always present on iOS, so I will clean the dock of all icons except for the icon. I will make sure that we have a real working icon for the application as opposed to just the standard one that Xcode puts in. And then I'll also create a new page of home screen icons and just have it be the only icon. So when I walk up there, I'm introducing our team, but they're already looking at the screen and they can see the icon and it's the only icon, and that sort of gets them focusing on the app. And then when we launch it, we're good to go.
Great.
Yeah, we can't prepare beforehand because we don't know what we're building.
And then we've got one more question. Peter, I'll ask this to you. What's more important for you? Is it the hack or the pitch? I think that means, what's more important, the project you're developing or the demo and the pitch that you give for it?
I would say both. I would actually say both, because if your pitch is perfect and your hack doesn't work, which happened to me before, you're not going to win. And vice versa. Even if your hack is extremely good and your pitch sucks, if you get too tired, that's where you kind of can lose too. So you kind of have to split up the teamwork too. This is back to team strategy, is that who handles what and whether they can handle their job correctly. And like Thomas basically said, in a good team, nobody asks questions. It's like, okay, that is your part, and you know when you fail, you know when you do good.
Okay. We're coming up on our 30 minutes here, so I just one final question from me for you guys. If you guys had any advice for hack organizers to make their hackathons better, what would that be? Peter, I'll give that to you first.
Okay. First, I think the common products out there. I think that's the very first thing that they should check. If there are common products out there like Evernote, and there's two kids that's 16 that's made a note app, it doesn't, sometimes they actually win. It's like, wow, that's really. Second is like the actual age range too, because sometimes, as you know, like hackathon organizers like to give just the people to win just because they're young. Like I have been to a hackathon where they win the first prize with a stock ticker, and I'm like, this is the first app that Apple came with before the SDK even came out. Like this is like the idea generation is it is so skewed, so it's like it doesn't really judges never really follow their own rules of judging. So like it makes it extremely hard for other people to actually innovate. But most of the time when these things happen, I do understand there isn't any app that's standing out anyway.
Okay.
So and the third is basically follow the regular rules of follow the regular rules for a hackathon organizer, understanding chicken and egg problem. If you go to an investor with the exact same project, that's going to be the first question is like, okay, this project have chicken and egg problem. How do you plan to solve it? And 99% of the time, there is no way of solving this. The other 1% actually turn into startups. Yeah, but so and chicken and egg, a discipline problem, same thing. What is your real strategy of solving a discipline problem? It's like if I use the app every single day. I mean, we have the only app I kind of like we all use every single day is just like our email, Facebook, and Maps.
Great.
There's no other app that, no matter how good of a hack is, you simply can make other people use every single day. But that is, or if you make games, that's a separate category. Yeah, and then these are filters I generally do because I've done a lot of startups, and I don't like investors asking me these questions because that means I haven't done my homework.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so those are things I generally don't do in my hack.
Okay. Tom, just quickly to you, what's something you think hack organizers need to do a better job of for attendees?
One is making sure that the venue is available the entire duration of the hackathon. I've been part of hackathons where they kick you out at like 9 o'clock, and then they come back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And you're like, all right. Like my team and I, we're all staying together in the same hotel because we're all remote, so we're never local to whatever hack it is. So having the hackathon venue open for people who aren't like me, who don't have a place to go, is important. And then also, I like these type of hackathons where you're forced to create something new as opposed to bringing something old. I like those better just because I think it levels the playing field for everybody, as opposed to somebody coming with the project they've worked on for 3 years, and then you come in that Friday to try to build something over the weekend, and you're like, well, how am I going to compete with somebody who's been working on it for 3 years? Like, so those are the two things that I would say. Make sure the venue is available all the time, and make sure that it's required that you build something new.
Great. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Tom, for your time today, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, one more problem.
More point.
Please, the Wi-Fi. Please make sure there is a good Wi-Fi connection. That is. I think that's very, very of the basic, but that's so many that I've been to just have that Wi-Fi problem.
That's why you bring a Wi-Fi. That's what we do.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom. Peter, thank you very much for your time today. And again, I'm Carlo from WIP. Thank you for joining us, to all our viewers as well. And we will see you next time on the WIP Developer Smackdown. Thanks.